be pro-life. They'll be in terms of the whole gun situation. We know the Second Amendment, and everybody's talking about the Second Amendment, and they're trying to dice it up and change it. They're going to be very pro-Second Amendment.
That's our president-elect, Donald Trump, on the most recent episode of 60 Minutes. He's always been a pro-2A candidate, but he's starting to elaborate on what that means. In some new postings on his campaign website, the president-elect says he wants to eliminate gun and magazine bans, fix the background check system, and institute a national right to carry. Darren LaSorte, I love saying his last name for some reason, is here to talk about all of this. What's going on, Darren?
Not much, Colion. You doing well?
I'm always doing well, man, even when I'm not.
Good. Well, we should all be doing much better now that President Trump-elect is, he's about headed our way, and he's bringing us some Second Amendment goodness, just like we talked about the day after the election. Like hearing the president-to-be talking about the Second Amendment and talking about eliminating gun bans and magazine bans and having national right to carry. This is what I was dreaming about, buddy.
Your high is infectious. The fact that you still have not come down from it makes me think you're now using substances. No, I'm honestly deflecting because in many ways, like when I came on the scene, when we were in very much a defensive posture. In terms of just gun rights in general. And it's really refreshing to be able to say, you know what, now we're going on the offensive in this regard. For too long, we've sat by and dealt with pushing back, trying different states, different politicians trying to enact assault weapon bans and magazine capacity bans and all of these other frivolous gun control measures that do nothing. And for once, I love the fact that we're like, okay, now we're pushing. Yeah.
And pushing realistically, so NRA did work on national concealed carry and got 58 votes in the Senate, 2 votes short of overcoming a filibuster. Obviously, Barack Obama wasn't going to sign it, but we have been on the offensive recently, but not realistically so, because we didn't have a president to sign it. We didn't have the votes to overcome a filibuster. Now we have the ability to get real things done. And the fact that the president is pushing from the top to make this happen is phenomenal. And, there could be really big things that provide us really big and new opportunities related to the guns we love. When he talks about getting rid of gun bans at the federal level, how do you do that? Get rid of the sporting purposes definition that has no place when it comes to the Constitution. As if James Madison was sitting there writing that Second Amendment to the U.S. Constitution saying, well, there has to be a sporting purpose to those arms because he was all about sporting clays and trap and skeet. No, they were winning us freedom, buddy. Fighting the redcoats. There's no sporting purpose that needs to be out there. We need to get rid of that. And what is Trump talking about when he's talking about getting rid of gun bans? Well, I think that's part of what he's talking about. Obviously, national reciprocity needs to be the priority, but all this goodness is coming, and it's all realistic, and NRA is on top of it, which is beautiful.
Absolutely. There's also a Second Amendment coalition featuring pro-gun congressmen, NRA Isla's Chris Cox, and gun manufacturers like Jesse James, which is going to be led by Don Jr. What are your thoughts on that?
Again, it's just music to my ears. I mean, no one knows the issues better than Chris Cox. No one has more connections than Chris Cox. No one's more articulate on the issue. I mean, the fact that he's leading this group, the fact that Don Jr. is leading this group with him, they both know what needs to be done. They're going to get it done. I have lots of friends in that coalition. I'm proud of them, and they're going to make a difference. These men and women want to see change in a positive direction, and together they will do it. And this group, a lot of the people who know people on Capitol Hill will probably be up on the Capitol Hill, up in the House, up in the Senate, making sure that senators and representatives know what the arguments are when it comes to the debate and having all the ammo they need to get this across the finish line and to the president's desk.
Like I said, I love this kind of, I don't want to call it forceful, but just very vigorous push for pro-2A ideologies in many ways, because like I said before, and I'm going to keep reiterating this until it just beats into people's heads. What it ends up doing is it'll start to change the narrative and change the culture.
Yeah.
And I find that incredibly important. I I don't know. I gotta be honest with you. I just never thought I'd see the day when we'd have a Second Amendment coalition being put forth by our president. I've been under anti-gun presidents for so long, and one of the most frustrating things in dealing with that too, especially considering my makeup, is having conversations with people about, well, no, President Obama really didn't try to take your guns. He didn't come in for your guns. He's not anti-gun. And I'm like, oh, God, it's they did so. Like I think in many ways people expect the president to come out and stand on a rock and say, everybody turn in your guns right now.
Yeah.
And then if he's not doing that, then somehow he's not doing anything to try to get his hands on our guns or to do anything to undermine the Second Amendment, which is a great tactic because it inevitably makes us look crazy when we're constantly fighting the moron who keeps kicking us under the table.
Well, if he had the votes, he would have gotten up on top of that rock and said, Mr. and Mrs. America, turn them all in.
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton was doing that by basically saying she was for bankrupting the entire U.S. firearms manufacturing industry when she was going to get rid of lawsuit protection, the one real positive thing we did get done not so long ago. So they would have done it. He would have done it. He talked about banning all the guns that you and I love, those scary-looking guns. He just didn't have the votes in Congress to get it done because of the NRA. Fortunately, the NRA and its 5 million members built a firewall against that to the point now where we're looking at gaining dramatic ground. And you raise a great point by saying that this is going to change the discussion nationally because we are hopefully going to get national concealed carry reciprocity. And guess what? When it gets done and people are carrying in San Francisco and New York City and Boston and a bunch of other places that they can't currently carry, and there are going to be no big issues, we're going to be able to say once again for the 10,000th time, told you so.
Yep.
No one, it's going to be dead quiet.
And then also you'll start to see a change in the markets. You'll start to see gun stores start to sprout up. You'll start to see people having more access to firearms in terms of using them responsibly and being able to become more accustomed to them. And like I said, it'll continue to progress in that way.
Right.
And I love it. I love it.
Yep. Well, it's a great point you made about the culture change. It will have that effect. And I hadn't thought about that to this point. I'm just thinking all policy. So absolutely. I like it.
Yep. Also, the departing Senate Minority Leader, Harry Reid, he took to the Senate floor today to bash Trump and was calling him all types of names like sexual predator, bigot. You know, the typical stuff they've been calling him on mainstream media for the last, what has been like 6 months.
He wasn't talking about Hillary's husband. He was talking about Trump. Oh, okay. Sorry. I was thinking he was talking about the guy who actually raped women. Okay. Sorry.
Well, then there's that.
Yeah. Makes me sick, man. It makes me sick. Harry Reid is the crybaby that he looks like. He looks like a little crybaby, and that's what he is. He's just so weak, so meek, and all the Democrats love to do is divide America. All Trump's talking about right now is uniting America. The Democrats have to have a divided America in order to thrive, and there are a bunch of sickos about it. And Harry Reid is the leader of them.
Absolutely. Now, I love the way you said that because a lot of people don't really kind of miss that component of it. The Democrats don't thrive at all unless we are a divisive country, period. Because once we're unified, a lot of their policies and strategies for this country don't work. They don't work because there's nothing to fix because they haven't broken anything. I'm going to have to absolutely agree with you on that. And then I just don't understand. It's like there's such a double standard when it comes to the Republicans and the Democrats, especially from the Democratic side, in terms of the way they handle certain things. Like when we start talking about, you're a grown man, for Christ's sakes. Like, act like one. You know, to me, this is nothing but a political tantrum thrown by a man-child. But then this is the same group that says that Trump doesn't have the temperament to be the president of this country, while all of them on the other side of the aisle engage in the same actions that they're purporting Trump to engage in. I don't know. It's just interesting to me to watch the kind of double standards that they engage in on a rather consistent basis, and then act like they're not doing it.
Right. But there's not a
I'm going to stop. I got to stop you. Because we ran out of time. Right. We ran out of time. Yeah, I talk too much. Sorry. But no, man, it's always a pleasure having you on, man. Just make sure you come back when I call you.
All right, will do.
All right, man. Not like you have a choice. And when we come back, Chris Jong joins us to talk about the influence of music on the gun culture. And stay with us.